Hello. Hi. Today is Tuesday, November 27th, and I just thought I'd pop on for a moment to, I don't know, maybe rant a little bit. Some things that are really getting to me, and so this is kind of an outlook for that. Not an outlook. Outlet. Anyway, I had a doctor's appointment today with my endocrinologist, which is my diabetes doctor, who I adore. And I actually have to be completely honest and say I adore all my doctors. I have such a good group. Each and every one, from my primary care down to every specialist that I've had to deal with, especially in the last year and a half, 2 years. And not everybody can say that. A lot of people get a primary care doctor. Basically, they pick one out of a book or something, or they might have heard from somebody, you know, that this person's good or whatever. But as far as character, bedside manner, which is lost a lot of times nowadays, you feel, and I've heard people say this over and over again, you get 2 or 3 minutes of a doctor's time. It feels like that anyway. And, you know, and that really bothers people because you're paying a lot of money to see the doctor. And when you get that little amount of time, it feels like you're just another number. You're not really that important to that provider. Each and every one of my providers, when I see them, they come and they sit down, and that is a big deal because just them sitting down in the room with you gives an appearance, even if they don't spend a lot of time, it gives the feeling and appearance that they're spending more time because they actually sat down with you. But anyway, so I have an appointment today, and they checked my A1C, which is a blood sugar test to give them an idea of what your average blood sugar has been for the last 2 to 3 months. So, you know, you could go in that day and have a really high blood sugar, but your A1C isn't going to show up as being really high because that's just that one day. But anyway, and I don't know how it does it, but that's beyond the point. It was, for diabetics, they just changed the range, and I heard it used to be below 6 and below is what they wanted to be a normal A1C. I've struggled through my life in 9s, 10s, and 11s at times. You know, that's it. But today it was 7. 6 months ago, it was 6.5. And 3 months ago, I think it was 8. If I remember right, it had bumped up a bit. But between the 8 and now the 7, the only thing that's really changed is how I check my blood sugar. And I have a device called the Libra. And this is it's under my coat right now, but a sensor that sticks to you, and it stays there for 10 days. I may have talked about this before, but anyway, stays there for 10 days, and I can check my blood sugar by waving a little reader. This is what that looks like. I wave it by there, and it reads the blood sugar pretty much whenever I want. So can give a lot of data as to what your trending is. Are your blood sugars going up? Are they coming down? Are they kind of even keel? So it helps you to prevent getting too high blood sugars and too low blood sugars. So it's been really great to have. And between that and my insulin pump has made my diabetes management so much easier. But this is not what bothers me. What had bothered me about this appointment, it brought up another issue that I've been having for months now. And I may have mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. I'm dealing with a company called CSS Medical for my pump supplies. So the pump supplies generally include a small reservoir that looks like a miniature syringe without a needle on it, and then an insertion set which connects to that little mini syringe and attaches to my body and goes in with a small needle, which is then withdrawn and leaves behind a small cannula, plastic cannula. So very similar to how they do an IV. When they put an IV in, it has a sharp needle that inserts it, and then they withdraw the needle and they leave behind this little cannula. So that's how that works. And I can wear that from anywhere from 5 days to 7 days before I have to change it. Every now and then I prematurely rip it off by the little tubing getting caught on something, or, you know, I've had to get caught on a door handle, you know, getting in and out of the car before, and then I have to change it a little earlier than I'd like to. But anyway, so they supply these things, and then any other little, you know, swabs or alcohol things to clean your skin, and the injector and all this kind of stuff. Well, anyway, I've been on a pump now for, well, I'm 55 now, so I'm going to say since I was about 30, so about 25 years I've been on a pump. Now, I haven't had to deal with this CCS Medical. This is a new company that I started dealing with when I was in the care center after getting out of can't even say, the care center, getting out of the hospital. I started dealing with them when I was in Manor Care, the care center. Okay. So they gave me like a 3-month supply. Well, then I go home and I call them to reorder, and now it's a problem because now my insurance has changed. And I no longer have Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicaid. I have Medicare and a secondary, who happens to be Blue Cross Blue Shield. So now I need a new order from the doctor. And I get the new order, and they say they don't have the order. And I have my doctors refax it and refax it. And this is going on for weeks now. And then they tell me, well, they have needed documentation for Medicare that I'm testing my blood sugar at least 4 times a day. So now I happen to have an appointment with my doctor. That was 3 months ago, and provided them with the documentation. They faxed that to them. I hear nothing. I call back. They tell me they haven't received it. You know, so I'm like, I don't understand what the lack of communication is between this company and my doctor's office, that they can't facilitate this order getting through. This is their business. How do they stay in business if they keep screwing customers around? So I get increasingly frustrated. I call them back again, and I get a hold of this guy, and I pretty much let him have it. You know, I understand people that work in customer service. I'm sorry about your job, but that is your job. Your job is to listen to patients or customers like me that are pissed off, whether for good reason or no reason. And you can't take it personal because you're that go-between. So anyway, I let this guy have it, and I tell him personally, what really frustrates me is that you never call me back. You don't call me back to let you know, hey, we still didn't get this. We still didn't get that. You know, this is your business. Isn't that your business to do that? I have to stay on top of you all the time and, to get a medical device that I need to live. It's crazy. So this gentleman, and I don't recall his name, which is irrelevant, tells me, Mr. Fowler, I apologize. I'm going to personally stay all over this thing and will keep you abreast of every step along the way until you have those supplies. Okay, thanks a lot, Bob, Jimmy, Larry, whatever your name is. I appreciate that. 2 weeks go by. I hear nothing. I call back again. And, I'm sorry, prior to me calling back, my doctor's office calls me to tell me that CSS Medical is requesting another blood test that they didn't have on file for Medicare. And I understand Medicare's, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. I used to work home care. Excuse me a second. I used to work home care, so I understand that they're pretty needy. So anyway, I go to dialysis 3 times a week. No big deal. Next time I'm at dialysis, I'll get the blood drawn and get that test to you. So I'm sorry. So 2 weeks go past. I don't hear anything. I called them back again. And unfortunately, this poor customer service girl, I told her up front, I said, I really am telling you ahead of time, I'm sorry. And she kind of laughed and said, well, what, for what? For what? I said, because what you're about to hear. So I gave her the whole story and, tried to summarize it as I could, and then complained about the previous guy saying he was going to stay all over it and call me right back, and never did. Well, of course, she goes up beyond, I'm sorry for all this trouble, and, let me see what I can do. All right, well, that was 2 weeks ago. I've heard nothing back from them. I got nothing in the mail. I checked my email. I checked my snail mail. I checked my phone messages. No calls from them. So here I am today at the doctor's office telling the doctor again, and she just is lost for words. This is at least 4 months, maybe 5 months. This is going on. And I've had to beg, borrow, and steal from my doctor's office to get sample kits. Matter of fact, I got one right here, just so so you have a point of reference. So this is the little quick set, they call it, which attaches to my pump. And so anyway, they can't give me a whole box of these things because there are other patients that are in the same predicament that I am at times. And my beard, I think, needs to be trimmed. Something's getting unruly. Anyway, ho, ho, ho. So I just got home now. I'm about to go inside, call them once again, and see what the hell is going on. I'm beyond pissed. And some people say, well, why don't you just go to another company? You know what? That's a problem, because Medicare has decided that they're only going to deal with certain companies. And they have this process called competitive bidding. And so a lot of the smaller companies that may have been really great with customer service and everything are gone. I've been bought out by these bigger companies, and because they couldn't match the bids of these big, huge conglomerates. And the big, huge conglomerates are in it for the numbers. So they can bid just like anything else. They can bid lower because they know they're going to generate the amount of numbers to make up for that. But that puts the customer at a loss of who to be able to pick for their supplies and providers. So that being said, I needed a moment to vent, and I figured I'd vent to YouTube. And, this is the struggles that some people don't realize that other people go through. And, insulin is, it's funny because I've been reading some stuff just recently on the cost of insulin. The cost of insulin has gone through the roof. I used to be able to buy a bottle of insulin out of pocket, paying cash, for $20. That same bottle of insulin is now almost $400. I need 4 to 5 bottles of insulin a month. Do the math. It's insane. So this is why I'm going to my doctor also, because I haven't quite met my deductible yet for my prescription coverage. So they want me to pay $900. And I'm sorry, I'm on a fixed income. How many years have you heard that from aging adults? Well, I'm an aging adult now, I guess. And I am on a fixed income. And with insurance, my cost of insulin is supposed to be right now, I think, about $100. So, to pay cash is not even viable, because I'd have to come up with about $300 for one bottle. So I just I saw this thing on Facebook about this 26-year-old type 1 diabetic that didn't have insurance, and he didn't have the cash for insulin. He tried to go through Obamacare or whatever, the marketplace, and because of what he made, and it was only like $40,000 a year, he didn't qualify for any help from the pharmaceutical companies, didn't qualify for any financial easement for insurance or anything. So he decided to not go in the marketplace and just pay out of pocket. Well, I just told you, insulin for one bottle is very expensive. So I guess he started rationing his insulin, not taking it as often as he should or whatever. And especially if you're type 1 diabetic, your pancreas doesn't work at all. So you always have to take insulin every day. several times a day to just be normal. And he died. He went into a diabetic coma, and at 26 years old, I guess the mother said it was 3 months, I want to say, 3 months after he lost his insurance. Yeah, because because he was turning 27, and he could stay on his parents' insurance up till he was 26. And now he was on his own, and he was dead. So tell me what's right about that story. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Health insurance and pharmaceuticals should not be profit-based businesses. They should make the money they need to make for research, development, and distribution. Not for advertising, not for big cruises for doctors that prescribe certain meds. And I know there's laws now that help to prevent these things from coming on or happening, but there's still, everyone is profitable. Have you ever heard of a pharmaceutical company going bankrupt? A medical device company? An insurance company? No. They make billions of dollars. Anyway, none of this is going to change unless we, as a society, go out and vote and demand changes in the laws preventing this kind of crap from happening and continuing. And if we're just going to be sheep and just wander around the fields taking what's given to us, it's never going to change. So that's my rant for today, Tuesday, the 27th of November. I had a birthday recently, the 19th. And like I said, now I'm 55 years old. I don't feel any different. I haven't felt different since I was 30. Your brain it's just amazing. You try to, well, how am I going to feel when I'm 55? I feel the same. I bet everybody says the same thing. I got really bad dry mouth now, and I think that's a combination of the medications I'm on. I started noticing a few months back that I never ever had an issue with dry mouth, and now I'm having to chew gum or try to keep some water. And I got to be careful of how much water I drink because of my kidney failure. So it's just another, ooh, that was my birthday present, dry mouth. Okay, I'll stop complaining. Click, subscribe, like, thumbs up, leave comments, do whatever you want to do. And God bless America. And I'll talk to you soon.